Here with another edition of Cows and Quacks, exclusively 12-ounce sports radio. Joined always my co-host, Mr. Tim Alcorn. Tim, tell the folks where you're at.
I am in Florida. I'm in Winter Park, Florida, out by the pool, just thinking about having a beverage in a minute. It's awful early, but who cares?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
So I want to jump into something real quick before we get anything else. Well, I don't know if you heard where Gary Patterson was getting drugged about someone asking why he didn't use Zach Evans anymore. And let me give you a backstory on Zach Evans. Zach Evans was the number one running back his senior year in high school. He played for my school, the powerhouse, North Shore Mustangs. And the state championship, well, we have a very big team concept with our high school. That's why we win so well. And the coach said everyone turn in their devices, their phones, because we're going to get ready for tomorrow. And Zach Evans decided he wasn't going to. So he got sit down, and we still won by 21, I think, in the championship game. And he was taught a valuable lesson that it's about a team sport and not, you can't be an individual on a team like that. But anyhow, they asked him, how come you only use Zach Evans 15 times? Because Zach Evans averaged 9 yards or 8.5 yards a carry. And he went into a tirade saying, well, I didn't want to give him the ball 35 times like they did Bijan Robinson. So he's trying to make an excuse why he didn't use a guy that's going to be an NFL running back, why they didn't use him more. And instead, he was throwing shade at Sark. And, Sark knew that he needed to control that game on the ground. He did. 35 carries, 212 yards, not 216 yards, sorry. Not a bad day. And, he knew because of TCU he needed to lean on his running game, and he did, and he got the win. And I love Gary Patterson, but he needs to shut the fuck up.
I love it, man. I love it. And there are moments where you gotta set the tone for your team. You have to. It's inevitable. Good coaches do that, right?
Yeah, they do, and I expect like Xavier Worthy, who is our star-studded freshman wide receiver, true freshman. Well, he had some drops last week. Only had one catch for 7 yards, but he had some drops that were going to gain a lot of yards, and that's a growing pain. And he knew that. I believe that Sark knew. Okay, I don't have it out of this guy today, so I got to lean on my running game to get there. And we did. We beat him, and that's the bottom line. This week we'll get into it, but I expect it to be a different game plan against Oklahoma, and we'll get into that. I had one too many cocktails, so I didn't really see the ending of your game, but I saw the referee with the flag out in his hand before the play started, and that seems kind of weird.
So I'll paint you the scenario. First half played abysmal. I mean, really, like the worst half I've seen Oregon play in a very long time. Of course, it happens with Stanford. It always seems to happen with Stanford, and I still don't quite understand why exactly, but it is what it is. So
coaching is very, very good.
Yeah, no, David Shaza, he's a hell of a coach. So second half come out, completely shut them down. They didn't score another point the entire half. Oregon's defense just muscled up, and they couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. Okay, Oregon managed to come down, get up by 7. And there was an opportunity in the first half to go up by 3, so really should have had a 10-point lead going into the fourth, but didn't convert. In 2018, I was at the Stanford game, and it was almost the same scenario. We were up by 7. We had the ball with about 6 minutes left, and Cristobal goes into this 4-minute offense. Now, mind you, we're doing this without C.J. Verdell. He injured himself, and he's done for the season, so he's gone.
Right. Tough blow.
Yeah, it's a very tough blow. So we're running, our backup running back in there, and he's not bad. I mean, Travis Dye, he's not amazing, but he's not horrible.
This is his 12th year, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And as soon as we go into this 4-minute drill, I'm talking to my buddy Josh, and I'm like, we're going to lose this game. We've seen this before. It happened in Autzen, back in 2018. They went into a 4-minute drill, and they just didn't do anything. They ended up turning the ball over, as a matter of fact, and Stanford got the ball, came down, put it in the end zone, went to overtime, and beat Oregon in Autzen. Almost exact same scenario. Oregon punts it down, gets it to like their 3-yard line. So Stanford has to drive 97 yards in a minute and a half. I'm thinking the game's over. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we were drained enough of the clock. They haven't moved the ball on us all half. Sure enough, we go into a prevent defense.
Okay, hold on right there. Now I got to say something. The prevent defense is the stupidest formation in any sport, anywhere, at any time. If you're winning the game like you are, why would you ever change it?
All right,
just my rant.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. You got to stay aggressive on offense. You got to stay aggressive on defense. There's no reason not to. And so it's really, really frustrating to see this happen and kind of know, okay, this is coming, and then have the wheels fall off. So
why do you think these coaches do this? It's been as long as I've been alive, and it's never worked. It fails a whole lot more than it ever succeeds. What makes them go into this mode where they become complete dumbasses?
I think really what it is they're playing the odds and percentages. Okay, it's very unlikely for a team in the final minute of the game, especially covering the whole field after they've had no momentum, to come all the way down and score a touchdown and win the game. Right?
But inevitably, they usually get close, and when you get close, all it takes is a penalty to get an extra play, like happened here.
And let's talk about that. So we're going down. Kayvon Thibodeau gets called for targeting. He hit him with the shoulder. He hit him in the shoulder. It wasn't a targeting call. They booted him. Okay, so 15 yards right there.
That will change next year, by the way.
Following play, they get roughing the passer called. He didn't even knock the quarterback over. He just ran into him. The quarterback didn't fall down or anything. Everyone's looking around like, wait, are you kidding me? So there's another 15 yards. Okay, these are all untimed downs. Then let's move into Oregon. They're at the 2-yard line. Oregon stands them straight up. They're down 7. They need to get a touchdown to tie it up. And 3 incompletions go by. They throw a 4th one, and before the ball is even out of the quarterback's hands, okay, they throw a flag into the back of the end zone. And they called pass interference. You go back and look at the replay, wasn't pass interference. Okay. So they get another untimed down. And then on that other untimed down, the wide receiver literally takes the DB by the shoulder pads in the end zone with the ball in the air and throws him to the ground, catches the ball for a touchdown. They don't call pass interference. So it wasn't just Oregon fans belly aching about the end of the game. It was quite literally 4 extremely controversial calls in a very pivotal moment of the game that weren't being called all game on either side, that suddenly in the final minute of the game, the officials decided to make their presence felt.
See, here's the thing that I see. If you're going to use technology to get things right, all those plays should be able to be looked at. And that pass interference, that wasn't a pass interference, it should be able to be called not pass interference, and the game would have been over.
Yeah, it should have been over. It should have been over. I mean,
if you're working to get it right, and they're all televised, so they all have camera angles. They should look at every play and every flag, especially one that's going to end the game, and make a right call.
And that's just it, Tim. I mean, even the announcers who Rod Gilmore hates Oregon, he's a Stanford grad, was going, wow, I cannot believe they're calling this way. This is very unusual and very suspect. Like, he hates Oregon, and even he's looking at this going, this is weird. But Oregon should have never put themselves in that position.
No, y'all should have won that game by 14 points.
Easily. And so, did the officials decide the game at the end? Yes. Did Oregon put themselves in a position?
Do you feel like that was more for Stanford or USC bias there?
I'm not quite sure. But the Pac-12
USC seems to have righted the ship a little bit.
They lost to Oregon State, dude. They're not.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're not writing anything.
I thought they only lost one game.
No, they got blown out by Oregon State.
It's
the first time since 1960 that Oregon State's beat them in the Coliseum.
I don't know why I saw that, man. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought they won. So
all I'm gonna say is, listen, you want your team to play well enough where the officials shouldn't decide the game, right? Honestly, I'm done with Anthony Brown. I think he's a great kid. I have nothing against him personally. He is not the guy that's going to win Oregon football games consistently long term. He's not the guy that can go in and win a Pac-12 championship, which at this point, that's all I'm really hoping for. I don't expect us to make the playoffs. I think we're probably going to lose another game or two along the way. I'm just hoping to see Oregon right the ship. We have been riddled with injuries this year. I mean, just decimated, and it's been rough. But
so if you think that you still don't have national championship aspirations, then you put your freshman phenom in and let him get games under his belt for next year. See, I'm exactly the opposite. I am now believing that Casey Thompson needs to stay in there because I believe that maybe we do have championship aspirations. So we'll see. So maybe we're going in two different directions, and that could all change this weekend real quick.
What a wild year we're at. So far, you're 5-2 on the season. You're kicking my butt. You went 5-2 last week. I went 4-3, but you're 36-10. I'm 31-15. And with that, let's get into our picks here, Tim. Bring us into our first game, my man.
Well, first game, I swore I never would again, but I'm all up on this Georgia bandwagon, bro. This defense, maybe one of the best ever. It's that good. It's really that good.
They're scary good.
Number 2, Georgia goes in to face number 22, Auburn. And, Auburn's got a good little season going, got one loss. But I just, I swear every year I'm not going to do this, but this Georgia team just looks different this year. This defense and, anybody can hand the ball off at this point.
Yeah.
I see Georgia winning 41-17.
Yeah, I put down Georgia by 21 in this one. Auburn, I mean, they're a good team. They would probably go 10-2 in the Pac-12, but this year they might go 500 in the SEC just because of how stacked the SEC is. And, Georgia's they're a totally different animal.
Hey, that's a pretty good Arkansas team that they just throttled.
It wasn't
a game after 5 minutes, bro.
It was an absolute drumming. So, yeah, I don't think Georgia's going to have much of a problem, even though this is on the road. I think they beat Auburn by 21. Number 4, Penn State going into play number 3, Iowa.
And let's be honest, this is I know we got Oklahoma, Texas, but and we wouldn't have thought this at the time, at the beginning of the year, but this is the co-game of the week.
Oh, absolutely. I think I've watched Iowa play, and they're winning. And they look horrible doing it, but they're winning big. The confusing thing about Iowa to me isn't that they're winning. It's just they just don't look like a team that should be just beating the tar out of everyone, but they are. So the
stout defense.
They're playing great football, but it doesn't look like they're playing great football. It's sneaky good, and this is the first big test for Iowa. Really, I mean. I don't think they've played anybody so far that's going to be at the level they're going to see with Penn State. And the same goes with Penn State. I think this is going to be Penn State's first real game. I think Auburn is a little suspect in that. But, if you're looking to play a team that's on a hot streak and on a roll, here you go. You've been
derailed almost every week on this Iowa train. I'm going to stick with them, bro. I expect a 27-25 Iowa victory.
Yeah, I'm going with Penn State.
I know you are. You're going to ride that. You're going to keep drilling till the train stays up on the tracks.
I again, listen, and this isn't anything personal against Iowa.
Go ahead.
This isn't anything against Iowa. To me, I haven't seen the eye test where I'm like, damn, this is really the number 3 team in the country. Wow, they're really that good. Like they're gonna run the table, win the Big Ten, and go to the playoffs. Like I haven't seen that level of play from Iowa. But if they do come out and just beat the hard Penn State, absolutely all the respect in the world. I would be on that bandwagon all day long, man.
For our great friends, I want them to know I've been picking Iowa.
Oh, I know. Andrea, I'm sure, would be very happy. All right, another really fun game. The losers from last week, from Alabama and from the Georgia game. Tell your gardener back there to keep it down, will you?
I think he's doing a little roofing or something. So.
Something like that. Number
That's
8,
okay.
Number 8, Arkansas going into play. Number 12, Ole Miss. Both these teams got the brakes beat off of them last week. Who has the best bounce back, Tim?
I'm personally going to go with Hotty Toddy just because they're at home. That's the only reason
Hotty Toddy.
And my good friend Tommy.
You still there?
And they're at home, they're going to win it. And I'm going to go. Let's go with the 38-31 victory.
38-31 Ole Miss. Yeah, I'm taking Ole Miss by 7 in this one. I think that Arkansas's, just the way they got beat last week is gonna be enough to really. I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna recover mentally from that. I mean,
yeah, that was brutal. I expected out. I expect maybe. I thought maybe Ole Miss would keep it close, but it's Alabama, bro.
Well, it's Alabama.
Arkansas was rolling and they got thumped.
I mean, Arkansas literally. They lost 37-0 last week. And they. I mean, it's not like they're a bad football team.
That's tough to come back from and playing a top 15 team next week.
Well, yeah, and this is the gauntlet the SEC is every single year. You get these teams in here that are good. I mean, at least Ole Miss put up a fight, right? And that's the only reason why I'm taking them. I just think they're mentally going to be in a better space, and they're at home, and that all that hype with Arkansas is gonna kind of go away after this week. But yeah, I got Ole Miss as well. Notre Dame goes on in to play Virginia Tech, and I put this game on the schedule because Virginia Tech's been playing some decent football, and Notre Dame finally slipped up last week. Got the freaking brakes beat off of them at home, and we knew at some point that was going to happen.
So before we pick this game, we talked about last week. I think Cincinnati's a playoff team.
They're sure playing like it, man, and good for them. I mean, honestly, to me, this. Okay, how do I say this? I always want Oregon to get in the playoffs, right? You always want Texas to get in the playoffs, but if we're going to see the expansion happen faster and deeper than what we need to, having teams like Cincinnati go in and beat Notre Dame on their home field, okay, and then setting them up for, I mean, they really should run the table from here. There's no one.
So here's a good question for you on this. Is it better for getting a quicker playoff if Cincinnati goes undefeated and gets in, or ends up number 5?
I think it's better if they get in, and I think it's better if they get in and they win and they go to the national championship, because what that starts to do is it opens up not only just the perception of the group of 5, but on top of that, it opens up the argument of, hey, these guys, aren't like an Oklahoma. When they get into the playoffs, they're going to actually do something with it. We need to open this up. We need to see competitive games like this more and more and more. And if the group of 5 can come in and play with the big boys, right? And it might not be every single year because they don't recruit at the same level, but and their coaches are going to get sniped.
But they will if they get in the playoffs.
Well, yes and no. I think Cincinnati's in a unique spot just because of where they are. But you're not going to see them in the playoffs every single year, maybe every 3 years or so.
And I believe they can stay consistently great if they just keep their coach, lock him up, try to, I know he's going to have huge offers everywhere, but maybe he'll stick around.
Yeah, you never. Hopefully he does. It'd be cool to see that happen. As far as
I bet you USC's calling right now,
or they're calling Urban Meyer now. He's on the hot seat again. So, yeah. So
he was just taking pictures.
Yeah, it's nothing big. I'm taking Notre Dame in this. I think they have a bounce back game, but I also think they eke this out. I think they win by 3 in this game. What do you see in this game, Tim?
Virginia Tech 27-24.
Oh, you're taking VT. All right.
I am. I was on that Notre Dame train until I left.
There you go. Fair enough. Bring us in to our game of the week.
Well, number 6 Oklahoma, and I am not going to call them a fraud. I know that we say this every year about Oklahoma, and then this game forward, they start just going crazy. So I expect them to play well. I expect we're going to get another big dose of Bijan Robinson, not just in the running game, but I think he's going to be. I think he has 5 to 7 touches on passes. Casey Thompson just needs to manage this game, but with Oklahoma's defense, they have to take, and I believe that Sark will take some shots. I'm honestly up in the air on this game right now. I'm gonna let you take it from here, and then we'll go.
Texas is going to win this game by 7. They had their hiccup with Arkansas, and ever since then they've looked pretty damn solid. This isn't the Texas I've seen the last few years, in the fact that they have a hiccup game and then they let that turn into a hiccup season. I've seen what I needed to see from Texas from a mental standpoint, which was enough to make me start to believe in this team. I truly believe they're going to go into the Red River Shootout. It's going to be competitive. It is every single year. But I think in the end they're loaded enough, and I think Robinson is a legit Heisman contender. I like 7. I like Texas by 7 in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas 42-37. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think that the score will be closer. I believe they'll probably be up by 12, probably in the 4th in Oklahoma. I think Texas controls the game. And that's not me being a homer. I believe that they're going to really, really lean on Bijan. And I said, it's kind of crazy. I sent you a text, and, of course, he makes a big play the next game. Overshown, our linebacker, he is so good. He's going to play on Sundays for a long time. This kid's very, very, very talented. Not your guy talented, but he's pretty talented. So we got a few minutes. We got 5 or 7 minutes. Do you mind if we talk about the Urban Meyer situation?
What do you want to talk about? The guy's a total scuzzbag, man.
That gets to me is, we've told people for 6 years this guy was trash. He trashed Florida. He's trashed everywhere he's been, and he somehow parlays this Jack. And by the way, the Jaguar owner, he's a straight up good dude. And I am shocked that he's letting Urban Meyer hang around. I don't think he'll be there next year, but come on. It's at your own restaurant and you're doing this. What kind of am I wrong for thinking that, this is a fireable offense?
I think he's trying to get fired. I think he wants to go coach USC. USC missed the train by 1 year. And he's going, if I just douche this up enough, I can probably get myself bounced out of here.
Yeah, because really, that was awful strange for that to go down at his own restaurant.
I don't buy it for a second.
He's got to have handlers. He's got to have handlers and PR people that take care of him.
Who do you think was filming it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, man.
If I was USC and I was the president of USC, he would immediately be off my list. And I'm so grateful that we dodged the bullet.
USC is as dirty of a program as there is that exists in college athletics. Period. They don't change their spots. They don't. They are a dirty, private institution, and they don't care about morality or public scrutiny or any of that stuff. They care about W's. That's it. That's USC football. I get it.
Hashtag free Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah, no kidding. So next week, I will be at the game. I'm flying up. Oregon hosts Cal after a bye week for both teams. 7:30 ESPN. Look for me. I'll be the guy in black as it's a blackout game, so that'll be fun. I'll get a chance to go to Eugene and hang out for the evening.
So are they going to wear all black too, or what?
I don't know. We'll have to tune in and see. They don't really necessarily let us know about unis anymore like they used to about 10 years ago. Now it's a little.
Now, are they changing every game, or are they? How are they doing? Are they still doing every game changing?
Yeah, they throw out a different combo every single game. And honestly, like at this point, I mean, it's cool, but I'd rather see them win. you know.
Well, I think that your week off came at the perfect time.
We'll see, man. Oregon's at a crossroads. Really, they are. And from here. They host Cal. They play at UCLA, which I'll drive up to that game in LA. They have Colorado. They have Washington. They have Washington State. They have Utah they play at. And then they have the Civil War against Oregon State. Oregon State has played the best football in the Pac-12 top to bottom, weirdly enough.
Ain't that crazy?
Weirdly enough. But here's what I'll say. Oregon is the most talented team, period. So they can figure this out. They could easily run the table from here. Go to the Rose Bowl, maybe even have an inside or an outside shot at the playoffs. I just don't think that they're going to move much further up in the rankings as the rankings go from where they're at now, which is number 8. I was surprised that we're still ranked that high. I thought we'd be moving out of the top 10 for sure.
You went out and you should be in.
We'll see what happens, but at the same time, though, man, They need to be consistent. If they can be consistent and they can win their games, the big 2 tests left really or 3 tests are really at UCLA, Washington, and Oregon State. If they win those games decisively, I think they're ready. They're ready to go play, in the college football playoffs. If they don't, I think they go to the playoffs and they get their butts kicked by whoever. I honestly believe that this team was a year away. From a true playoff run. I think next year they have a pretty legitimate shot, but I'll take it this year. If they can pull it together and do it, I'll take it. You guys host Okie State next week in Austin, which will be a huge game.
That's 2 great games, 2 undefeated teams. I was thinking about something as I was trying to text you and console you for last week. My love for college football is pretty much unmatched. I mean, there's nothing that is as pure and beautiful as college football, but there's also nothing that can break your heart as bad. And that's what makes it so beautiful.
College football's a fickle mistress, man. I tell you.
It's a beautiful mess.
It's a beautiful mess. We will be back next week with more beautiful messes, but until then.
Adios.
Amigos.